close your eyes for a moment and imagine sinking, not into water, not into Earth, into ice. 29 kilometers of solid, ancient, alien ice, pressing down on every side of you, suffocating, absolute, total. No light reaches you here, no sound, no warmth, just the crushing weight of a frozen world that has been sealed shut for longer than complex life has existed on Earth. And then the ice gives way. You break through into open water. But this is not any ocean you have ever known. There is no sky above you, no surface to swim toward. Just a ceiling of ancient ice stretching in every direction, sealing you inside a body of water that has never seen a single ray of sunlight. And in the suffocating darkness of this alien ocean, something moves. This is not science fiction. This is a real place, a real ocean, a real possibility that has kept scientists awake for decades. This is Europa, Jupiter's frozen moon. A pale, cracked marble orbiting the largest planet in our solar system, 670 million kilometers from the warmth of the sun. From a distance, Europa looks almost peaceful. A smooth, bright sphere streaked with reddish-brown lines, like veins running beneath frozen skin. It is slightly smaller than our own moon, roughly 3,100 kilometers across. But do not let the silence fool you. Beneath that frozen surface, beneath 29 kilometers of solid ice, there is a global liquid saltwater ocean, an ocean so vast, so deep, so ancient, that it may contain more water than every ocean on Earth combined. And here is what no one talks about. We have no idea what is living inside it. The question is not whether Europa could theoretically support life. The question, the terrifying, beautiful, civilization-changing question, is whether something has already been down there, in the dark, for billions of years, growing, adapting, waiting. And right now, a spacecraft is hurtling toward it. Before we go deeper, we need to talk about proof. Because for a long time, Europa's hidden ocean was just a theory. A beautiful, unsettling theory. Scientists suspected it. They argued about it. They lost sleep over it. And then the evidence started arriving, piece by piece. And it was worse than anyone imagined. The first clue was written on Europa's face. Look at Europa's surface. Really look at it. On almost every moon and planet in the solar system, billions of years of asteroid bombardment leave behind craters, ancient scars that tell the story of a violent history. But Europa is almost completely smooth. Almost no craters, barely any mountains, just ice and those strange reddish-brown lines cutting across it like cracks in broken glass. This could only mean one thing. Something from below was constantly resurfacing the ice, erasing old scars, laying down fresh frozen skin. A dead world doesn't erase its own scars. Only a world with something moving inside it does. Then came NASA's Galileo spacecraft. From 1995 to 2003, Galileo orbited Jupiter and performed 11 close flybys of Europa. And what its instruments detected beneath that frozen crust stopped scientists cold. An induced magnetic field, not from the moon's core, but from something electrically conductive, just below the surface. The only substance that fits is liquid salt water. Not ice, not rock, liquid, salty water. And the images that came back showed something even more disturbing. Entire regions of Europa's surface appeared shattered. The ice broken apart, shifted and refrozen in completely wrong arrangements. Scientists call these zones chaos terrain. It is exactly what it sounds like. A landscape that looks like a jigsaw puzzle that was shaken violently and then pressed back together wrong. This kind of disruption only happens if something warm and fluid is pushing up from directly below. But here is the question that no one could stop asking: how? How does liquid water survive this far from the sun? At 670 million kilometers from the sun, Europa's surface temperature is around -160 degrees Celsius. Everything should be frozen solid. And it would be, were it not for Jupiter. Europa is caught in a gravitational tug-of-war between Jupiter and two of its neighboring moons, Io and Ganymede. Their combined gravitational pull keeps Europa's orbit slightly elliptical, and as Europa circles Jupiter, the distance between them constantly changes. Jupiter's gravity physically stretches and compresses Europa's rocky interior with every single orbit. Think of bending a metal paperclip back and forth. It gets warm at the point where it flexes. Now imagine that happening on a planetary scale, continuously, for 4.5 billion years. Scientists call this tidal heating, and it is the engine that keeps Europa's ocean liquid in a place where no ocean should have any right to exist. In January 2025, NASA's Juno spacecraft confirmed it. After measuring Europa's ice with microwave instruments during a 2022 flyby, the data settled a decades-long debate. The ice shell averages 29 kilometers thick, and beneath it, the ocean is real, and it is enormous. Current estimates suggest Europa's ocean could be around 100 kilometers deep. Earth's deepest point, the Mariana Trench, reaches barely 11 kilometers. Europa's ocean could hold 2 to 3 times the volume of all water on Earth, and it has never once seen the sun. Here is where the story stops being just interesting and starts being genuinely terrifying. Because scientists don't need to speculate about whether life could survive in an environment like Europa's ocean. We have already seen it happen, right here, on Earth, at the bottom of our own ocean, in places so deep, so dark, so cold that sunlight is nothing more than a distant memory. Entire ecosystems thrive in total blackness. Along mid-ocean ridges, hydrothermal vents punch through the seafloor and pump superheated, mineral-rich water into the freezing darkness. And around these vents, life has found a way. Bacteria, tube worms 2 meters long, albino crabs, ghostly shrimp. An entire food chain built on chemical energy, completely independent of the sun. These organisms have never seen sunlight. They never needed to. They eat hydrogen sulfide, they breathe chemical reactions. They are proof that life does not require a star. It requires chemistry, and Europa has chemistry. The James Webb Space Telescope confirmed in 2023 that there is carbon dioxide on Europa's surface, not from space, but originating from the interior, from the ocean itself. Carbon is one of the fundamental building blocks of life as we know it. There is also evidence of salts, specifically sodium chloride, on Europa's surface, the same salt in Earth's oceans. And the source is the rocky seafloor, 3 kilometers below Europa's ocean, where the water is actively reacting with minerals. The ocean is not sitting still. It is chemically interacting with rock. It is alive, in the geological sense, at minimum. Life requires 3 things: liquid water, chemical energy, the right elements. Europa appears to have all 3. But then came the 2024 studies, and the story got complicated. Simulations of Europa's rocky interior suggested that the moon's core may not generate enough heat to drive active volcanic activity on the seafloor. Magma cannot easily travel through the thick rock above it to reach the ocean floor. If there are no active volcanoes on Europa's seafloor, one major source of chemical energy disappears. The scientific community split. Some researchers argued, without volcanic vents, Europa's ocean may be chemically stagnant, and a stagnant ocean does not easily birth life. But others fired back with something extraordinary. A geological process called serpentinization, when seawater seeps into cracks in certain types of rock and reacts with the minerals inside, it produces hydrogen gas and heat. No volcano required, no magma chamber needed, just rock and water and time. A 2016 NASA study concluded that Europa's ocean could maintain an Earth-like chemical balance through serpentinization alone. And 2024 simulations showed that low-temperature hydrothermal systems on moons like Europa could persist for billions of years. Long enough for life to begin, long enough for life to evolve, long enough for life to spread in total darkness, without ever knowing the universe existed beyond its frozen ceiling. The question has shifted. It is no longer, could life exist in Europa's ocean? It is, why wouldn't it? In 2012, the Hubble Space Telescope spotted something extraordinary above Europa's south pole: enormous plumes, geysers of water vapor erupting from the ice, rising 200 kilometers above the surface, venting the contents of Europa's hidden ocean directly into space. Europa was not just hiding an ocean, it was breathing. Then in 2018, researchers went back to data from Galileo's 1997 flyby, data that had been sitting untouched for over 20 years, and found something nobody had noticed. During that pass, just 206 kilometers above Europa's surface, the magnetometer recorded a sudden shift of more than 200 nanoteslas over only 3 minutes. The plasma wave spectrometer spiked. The only model that could explain both signatures was one where Galileo had unknowingly flown directly through a water vapor plume. The ocean evidence had been hiding in plain sight for 2 decades. If those plumes are real, and the evidence increasingly suggests they are, then the implications are staggering. A spacecraft would not need to drill through 29 kilometers of ice to sample Europa's ocean. It could simply fly through one of those plumes and taste whatever the ocean is made of. But then there is the radiation, and the radiation is the part of this story that almost no one warns you about. Europa does not sit in peaceful, empty space. It orbits directly inside Jupiter's magnetosphere, one of the most violent radiation environments in the solar system. Charged particles from Jupiter slam into Europa's surface continuously. The radiation dose at Europa's surface is equivalent to approximately 5.4 sieverts per day. A single sievert causes radiation sickness. 5 sieverts in a day would be fatal to any human within hours. This radiation does not merely threaten astronauts. It destroys organic material on Europa's surface. Any biosignature, any chemical trace of life brought up from the ocean through geological activity, would be chemically shredded by Jupiter's charged particles within hours of reaching the surface. Which means if something is alive in Europa's ocean, it is completely invisible to us from the outside. The radiation functions like a cloak, erasing every trace, every signal, every fingerprint. In the highest radiation zones near Europa's equator, scientists estimate you would need to dig 10 to 20 centimeters beneath the surface just to find material that has not been chemically destroyed. Think about what that means. An entire ocean's worth of chemical history erased every single day. And yet, there is a silver lining buried in this nightmare. The same radiation that bombards Europa's surface also splits water molecules on the ice. This process creates oxygen, hydrogen peroxide, reactive chemicals that, if they could somehow reach the ocean below, could fuel life through a process called oxidant delivery. The radiation that makes Europa's surface lethal might be feeding life in the ocean beneath it. In 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope confirmed water vapor plumes from Europa. Not a suggestion, not an anomaly. Confirmation. The ocean was actively releasing its contents into space, and Webb was there to watch it. Europa is not silent. Europa is not still. Something beneath that ice is making itself known. On October 14, 2024, a spacecraft lifted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida aboard a SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket. It carried humanity's most carefully assembled question, aimed at the most unsettling address in the solar system. Its name is Europa Clipper, and it is carrying 9 scientific instruments designed to do one thing above all else: find out what is really hiding beneath that ice. Europa Clipper will arrive at Jupiter in April 2030. It will perform 49 close flybys of Europa, swooping as close as 25 kilometers from the surface. Its mass spectrometers will analyze the composition of whatever it encounters. If a plume is active during one of those passes, the spacecraft will literally taste the ocean. No drilling, no landing, just flying through a cloud of alien seawater and analyzing what it finds. Think about what that means for a moment. Within the next decade, we may have an answer to the question that has haunted humanity since the first human looked up at the night sky and wondered, are we alone? And here is the part that should make you stop breathing for a moment. The answer is terrifying. Either way, if Europa Clipper's instruments come back silent, if the ocean is barren, if there is no life in the most promising extraterrestrial ocean we have ever found, then what does that tell us about how rare life actually is? If water, chemistry, heat, and billions of years aren't enough, if even Europa failed, then maybe the universe is not teeming with life. Maybe we are a mistake that happened exactly once. That silence would be the loudest thing humanity has ever heard. But if the instruments find something, if a single carbon chain comes back that does not fit any non-biological explanation, if even one organic molecule appears that should not be there unless something made it, then everything changes. Because if life emerged twice in a single solar system, once on Earth, once in the freezing darkness beneath Europa's ice, then the mathematics of the universe shift completely. If it happened twice in one star system out of the hundreds of billions of star systems in just our galaxy, then life is not a miracle. Life is not an accident. Life is what the universe does. It is inevitable. It is everywhere. And we have spent the entire history of our species thinking we were alone in an ocean that was always full. Europa does not care about our questions. It just keeps orbiting, keeps flexing, keeps hiding its ocean beneath 29 kilometers of ancient silence. Whatever is down there has been waiting in the dark for longer than complex life has existed on this planet. It has never heard a sound from the universe above it. It has never seen a ray of light. It has existed in absolute, perfect, eternal darkness, completely unaware that somewhere above its frozen ceiling, a small planet developed creatures who built rockets and aimed one at its home. The spacecraft is on its way. The ocean is waiting. And in the year 2030, for the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of our solar system, humanity will listen. We have been staring at the stars and asking if anyone is out there, but maybe we had it backwards. Maybe the question was always beneath the ice.